Welcome to Boating Georgian Bay TV.
In this section, Boating Georgian Bay tours the Miami Boat Show. I'm here at the Miami Boat Show with Chris Myers, representing Crates Lake Country in Aurelia. Chris, how does it be to get down here in the nice weather like this?
Well, I know there's a lot of envy with our folks back north that us Canadians are down here in Miami representing beautiful fiberglass once again. But these shows are extraordinarily long. They're running about 12 hours a day of work. We're inside another convention center. The weather outside, it's astronomical, but we're in here working very hard on mainly with our Canadians.
How many Canadians are you finding are down at the Miami show?
Right, in some cases we're actually busier with Canadians than the Americans are with their own Floridians.
Really?
We are constantly engaged with Canadians from coast to coast, Halifax to Vancouver Island. So we're getting run off our feet down here. Canadians, our snowbirds, they love the beautiful Florida weather. In January, February, they prefer to be down here. So we have to come to the Canadians where they are. Right.
And what are you finding? Like, what are the hot sellers this year? Like, is it the bigger boats or the smaller boats, or?
It's a broad range, but small boats. The definition of small boat has changed. We're actually sitting in a smaller boat right now. This is a 27-foot Regal sport boat, which we would call an average size small boat. And Canadians are down here exploring this boat for our big Canadian water Great Lake systems. And then of course our big boats behind us are sport yachts and sport coupes, 35 to 46 on average feet. They're still going very strong, as our Canadians certainly love their big boat.
Is the 52 Sport Coupe a new boat this year?
We were at the end of the run with our 52 Sport Coupe for its current model design. For 2013, there's only one left available in all the world, and that's so there's 6.5 billion people on Earth that can pick from one last boat, and when it's sold, we're sold out of 2013 52s. To get a new 52 right now, you're looking at delivery times of October, November this year, but you'll be getting an all-new laid-out model. It's a 2014, and we've done an unveiling here with a line drawing, and it's sensational.
Wow!
Canadians are really going to love the new changes.
And I heard last year the 42 sold really well. 42
did very well, and I was just on a half an hour phone call with a gentleman from the East Coast this morning who specifically likes the 42 over our 46 and 52. It's a very cozy boat. It has sold well. It's going to sell even better this year. It's picking up a lot of energy. Being a newer model,
yes,
a newer model takes about a good solid year to get introduced to the world,
right? And
then the sales cycle begins, and we start selling a lot of units.
Good. And what are you expecting the year ahead? Is it going to be busier than last year?
We've already seen that.
Yeah.
We're a month off of our Toronto Boat Show, and we sold over 40 brand new Regals at the Toronto Boat Show, which on average here at the Miami show, we double what they do here in Miami for Regal boats.
Yes.
Despite Regal being built right here in Florida, there is an absolute passion and love with Canadian boaters, and they understand, hey, I need to buy a boat here in January if I'm going to be the first one on the water this May.
Yeah, right. So, now, are you the biggest Regal dealer in Ontario?
We are the biggest Regal dealer in the country.
In Canada?
In Canada.
Wow.
Last year, for Regal as a whole, out of 145 dealer network worldwide, Crates Lake Country Boats in Aurelia, Ontario our dealership, we rank number 3 for sales.
That's nice to see, eh?
Yeah.
A little, a little Aurelia and
Absolutely,
kind of leading the world.
But more impressively, more importantly, we're number 1 in the world again. We've repeated this in the last 4 years. Number 1 in the world for customer service satisfaction for Regal Boats.
Fantastic, good job.
And that customer service, a satisfied customer, equates to another boat sale.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Chris, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the show and it goes well for you.
Wonderful, terrific.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
So we're here with Brett Jenkins at the Bertram booth, and Brett is the son of famous Tom Jenkins. Tom's a very knowledgeable guy in the boating industry down here, and we keep in correspondence with him all the time with his newsletters and whatnot. And Brett's come into the business here as well. And Brett, what are you seeing in terms of boat sales and activity at the Miami Boat Show this year?
Well, really within the past month and a half, 2 months, it's really picked up a ton. There's a lot of activity. We're selling boats very quickly. Most of the boats that we produce are already sold, coming off the line. We still have more boats coming out, especially at Bertram. But all in all, within our whole group, we're selling lots of boats. It's turned out to be a great year.
Good. So compared to last year, things are exponentially up, are they?
I think so. Especially, I think the past couple months after the elections, the economy is going to be the way it is for the next 4 years, and so boat sales are really moving. People are buying boats, and they're going to enjoy their life for the next 4 years.
We're here with Drew Robertson of Skipper's Plan Insurance, and Drew's going to lead us through some of the interesting things to know about purchasing boat insurance and some of the pitfalls that you might want to avoid. Drew, what are the things that a boater should look for when they're shopping for an insurance policy for their boat?
There's a lot of considerations around the purchase of a boat. Insurance is just one of them, but unfortunately people don't allocate adequate time to shop the market properly. As a result, I think the biggest mistake people make is buying insurance and comparing policies based on price alone. There's no standard policy wording from one company to the next. So if you're shopping just based on price alone, you may just be buying the worst or the least amount of coverage available on the market today. Now, there's a number of ways that you can compare policies, and the things that you should be looking for, first of all, are the basis of settlement. This defines what the insurance company is obliged to pay the owner in the event that there's a claim. There's two basic types. There's agreed value and actual cash value. With agreed value, the insurance company is agreeing up front to pay for the cost of new parts if the boat is damaged, and they don't apply any depreciation. So you know exactly what you're going to be responsible for in the event of a claim and what you're going to receive. You only have to pay your deductible. If the boat is a total loss, then you're guaranteed to receive the amount shown on the policy. And again, that's what's known as agreed value coverage. Actual cash value is where you insure the boat based on the market value. Now with this policy, if there's an accident, the insurance company is only obliged to compensate you based on the value of the equipment at the time of the accident. So if they have to put new parts on the boat, they apply depreciation. They deduct a certain amount based on the age and condition of the equipment that the owner is responsible for, in addition to their deductible. What this can mean is a bill in the thousands of dollars coming out of an owner's pocket in the middle of summer if they have a simple accident. There's a third type of coverage that's only available on new boats, and that's what's called guaranteed replacement cost. And you buy this endorsement, add it on the policy, and what it does is if your boat is a total loss in the first 3 years, then the insurance company will pay more than the amount shown on the policy to purchase a brand new boat. Again, that's only available on new boats, and it's for a limited period of time.
That's based on replacing the total value of the boat plus whatever it might cost at that time?
Plus any additional costs to adjust for inflation or the exchange rate. Those sort of factors come into play.
Now, do all insurance companies offer all three or one, or how does that work?
No, again, every company is different. The companies that specialize in offering marine insurance do tend to have those options available for consumers. Or if you're dealing with a broker, he will have 3 or 4 different markets that if they can't get one coverage from company A, it might be available through a company B. And then you can make a comparison based on that. But the basis of settlement is just one thing to consider. The next thing you want to look at are the insured perils. Now, most policies are written today on what's known as an all-risk basis. That does not mean that the boat owner is covered no matter what happens. It's a type of policy that states all accidents are covered unless they're specifically excluded. So as soon as you hear an all-risk policy, what you want to look for are the exclusions that are listed in the policy, because that will describe exactly the type of accidents that are not covered. Those will vary from company to company as well.
So there are risks that simply can't be insured, or there are options on writing the policy?
Yeah, no, there are certain types of losses that are just not covered by insurance. Keep in mind, insurance is there to protect you against sudden and accidental damage. So it doesn't cover losses for damage that may occur to the boat over an extended period. We would be looking at rust, gradual deterioration, wear and tear, mold, those sort of losses.
Right. Is there anything in terms of risks like, I don't know, I'll give maybe some examples like a lightning strike, or if the boat wasn't properly grounded or something like that, where there would be any risk to coverage in that respect, or is that kind of thing all automatically all covered?
Some insurance companies will exclude damage that results from a power surge unless it's can be shown to be caused by a direct lightning strike. Again, it varies from company to company, and it's not a common type of exclusion that you'll see. So long as the damage occurred from an external cause, whether it's a collision with an object, lightning, wind damage, in most cases those losses will be covered under the policy.
Drew, one question that's always been on my mind, at some point there has to be a responsibility on the boater, I would think, in terms of maintenance and things like that may, down the road lead to, an insurance claim. How does that work with insurance companies? Like, what if a guy's not maintaining his boat and something happens and the boat goes to the bottom of the marina at the dock or something like that? How does that get handled?
Well, sometimes those losses result from wear and tear as a result of the lack of maintenance on the boat, and the insurance company may use that exclusion to avoid paying a claim. Other companies have specific exclusions for any damage that results from the lack of reasonable care in the maintenance of the boat. So that's where it becomes important to understand which type of coverage and exclusions you have.
Now, what happens in the case of a boat's winter stored? I mean, I know a year or so ago there was a massive marina fire. A lot of boats were lost in southwestern Ontario. Are those boats in storage insured by the boat's insurance company, or are they insured by the marina that's storing the boats, or both for that
No,
matter?
that's a good question, because we get a lot of people that want to take the insurance off their boat during the winter months, and it's something we strongly recommend against.
Mm-hmm.
There's two reasons for this. Number one, the storage facilities require boat owners to maintain insurance on the boat under the terms of the contract. The other is that we see most of our large catastrophic losses during the winter months when all the boats are parked together, and you run the risk of one boat catching fire that causes damage to many more. So you want to maintain the coverage on that, and you also see losses, depending on where the boat is stored, from events like wind damage, trees falling on them, or animals also contribute significantly.
A lot of our audience are cruisers, and we have quite a few loopers that follow the site as well. What happens in terms of when they are traveling out of a defined geographic catchment? Let's say you're a Georgian Bay boater, but you're going to the Bahamas that winter, or perhaps even going further afield. How does that work with coverage?
Yeah, every policy is going to define the coverage territory or navigation area where the boat is covered. These are listed in a section of the policy known as warranties. And the warranties are very important because if you breach a condition of the warranties, you take the boat outside of the navigation area, your policy ceases to be in effect from the minute you leave. The standard navigation area for most of the policies is very broad. It will cover you on any inland water in Canada, as well as coastal waters, and most will provide some coverage down on the east coast to approximately 40 degrees north latitude. For people that are doing the loop or cruising down to Caribbean, that means your coverage is going to stop at Chicago or at 40 degrees north latitude, unless you buy a specific endorsement that extends the navigating area for the area you want to go to, and also for the time that you're going to be south. There will be changes to the coverage as a result, because now you're introducing new risks, such as damage caused by hurricanes. And so the insurance companies respond to this in different ways, whether by having higher deductibles for named windstorm damage, or some will actually limit where you can be. In other words, you can't be south of Norfolk until the 1st of November, and you must be back in Norfolk, Virginia by the 1st of June each year.
Right,
so
right.
It's critical that you understand the navigation area coverage on the policy.
Right. And how does one, is there such a thing as a policy that, would kind of gold package, I guess you would say, that would include kind of all potential risks? Or is this something that it's dependent on the boat owner to do the research and meet with their agent or broker or insurance company and sort it out to make sure they're getting the coverage that they need for their situation?
Yes, what you want to do, you want to deal with an insurance broker who specializes in marine insurance.
Right.
We have access to better policy wordings and coverage, and also better rates, and are available from a general service insurance broker. And the companies that we deal with will bundle packages and have layers of coverage that you can add on. There is no such thing as a gold-plated package that covers every eventuality anywhere in the world. And even if we could create such a policy, it would be very expensive for most boat owners.
Interesting. Is there any limitation on boat size? Like I know on Georgian Bay, there's not too many boats that are over 60 feet. There's a few, but not a lot. But of course, as you go south, or some of our American friends and stuff that are cruising, they're into very large, 100 and 150, 200 foot yachts. Do Canadian companies get involved in that type of insurance as well?
Yes, different insurance companies have different appetites for the type of boats that they will insure. Not all are willing to write mega yachts, particularly if they're going down into the southern waters. And that's where you rely on a broker to find the best company for the insurance for your particular boat. Around the length of the boat, there's no hard and fast number that the insurance companies will cut off at, but what they're looking at primarily is the experience of the person who's going to be operating it. Okay. I've spoken to people who were buying 52-foot motor yachts as their very first vessel. And insurance companies, have said that they want to see a professional captain at the helm of that boat for at least a 2-year period until the owner can demonstrate that they're qualified to operate it. You can also see the same problem when you're moving up. A good rule of thumb, though, is 10 feet. Anything, if you're making a jump in anything over 10 feet, you may find difficulty in getting coverage, or you may find that it's significantly more expensive until you build up some experience.
Interesting. What about horsepower with power boats? Is that an issue? Is it like car insurance where if something's really sporty and high powered, it's a higher risk than something that's, let's say, a trawler or something like that?
Speed is a definite factor that the insurance companies take into consideration when they're rating the boats. Now, horsepower does not always relate to speed when you consider the size of an engine that's in a ski boat. So we look at the potential speed of the boat when we're looking at rating. And again, insurance companies will have different appetites. Not many are willing to insure boats that will do in excess of 75 miles an hour, where they get into what is classified as a high performance. Anything up to that speed is usually fairly easy to obtain.
Right. More risk than powerboating, or is there any distinction there?
Well, it all comes down to speed. When you run into something at 10 miles an hour, it's always less significant event than if you run into something doing 25 miles an hour. With the water levels the way they are, though, we are seeing an increased number of grounding claims with sailboats, particularly up on the Georgian Bay area. On average, or historically, sailboats have represented a lower number of claims and less severe. But sailboats have also changed over the years, adding electronics, flat screen TVs, and all the other amenities that we're starting to see the cost of claims going up much closer to what we would see on cruisers.
Interesting. Drew, I'd like to thank you for your time. That was a very interesting conversation. I appreciate it. You're an industry expert.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. We're here today with Barry Goodyear, Raycon Marine Surveyors, and Barry's going to lead us through what you should look for in having a boat surveyed, and in fact why every boat should really be surveyed. So Barry, just like to introduce you, and maybe you can start off by telling us, why is it important that boats be surveyed?
There's quite a few problems that you can get with a boat inside the fiberglass coring that you can't see with the naked eye, and that's one thing the surveyor is going to do. Is we're going to look from the outside inside, using a hard plastic hammer to sound everything, and a moisture meter to check the density of the coring for any moisture delamination. So the sounding and the moisture metering is done throughout the bottom of the boat, the freeboards, the deck, transom, stringers, frames, anything that has coring in it, but also anything that has a solid fiberglass. We're looking for saturation of moisture in the fiberglass laminate. We're also looking for osmosis blistering and delamination, whether the coring and the fiberglass have come apart, or actually the fiberglass laminates have come apart. Those are the three main, the bulk of what we're looking for as far as the structure of the boat goes. Other things we're looking for is electrical problems. There's specific wiring that needs to be used on the boat. You can't just go to your hardware store and buy some hard copper wire and start wiring in new appliances and new receptacles in the boat. It needs to be very specific wire, it needs to be secured properly, everything needs to be GFI protected. Same with the 12-volt system, everything needs to be done with proper wiring as well. We're looking for grounding systems to make sure that everything is grounded properly. Fuel caps are grounded properly as far as static electricity goes, and we're also looking at fuel installations. Anything that's been changed or modified, or anything from the factory as far as some of the older boats. Making sure the right fuel hose is used, U.S. Coast Guard approved fuel, make sure it's secured properly, make sure it's not all cracked as far as the hosing goes, and also looking at any fuel system cutoffs. Some of the other things we're looking for is shafts and propellers. We do some rudimentary checks, checking the camber on the propellers, checking the distance between the shafts as far as any bending in the shaft goes. But the core of what we do actually is structural. When it comes to the cosmetic side, when it comes to upholstery, tops, and that kind of things, the surveyor will mark that down, but really when you're looking at buying a boat, you've seen those things already. Our primary core is stuff that you're not going to see. And that's really the heart of what the surveyor does. So this area that has the dull soundings with a hammer would indicate that the core has a fair amount of moisture in it, some elevated moisture areas. This area here that we hammered had nice sharp sounds to it. It's very solid. The moisture meter readings earlier were perfect, but this area here has very high moisture meter readings, and it indicates that the core actually has the moisture, and it could be leaking from the windshield or the windshield wiper. And that's something that as preventive maintenance is that you see the areas all caulked with silicone. That silicone is not a great sealant for your boat. You need to use a Seekins or a 3M product to properly seal any water from getting into the core. So the coring on the decks and in the stringers and the part of the boat is either balsa wood or it's going to be plywood. So in this case it's balsa core, and if the water gets in there, it's a dry material and it soaks moisture up a bit like a sponge. And this is really what we're detecting when we survey the boat. You can't see that and it looks great, but it's got some high moisture, and the area that's all down here through the moisture meter indicates that there's moisture here as well, but it's not as bad as that one area goes. And that's really what we're looking for today. So a common problem that we have here for most used boats is that this forward deck area, primarily on the windlass and the fittings, has some moisture according to what our moisture meter reads, but when we hammer it, it sounds quite good. So that's a common problem with any used boat. A little bit of moisture there, not a big concern, something to expect with any used boat. The best thing is to take the fittings off, again recaulk them. If the cutouts for the windlass or the other fittings are not sealed, the best thing is take the balsa wood, seal it up so no moisture gets in, and then caulk it when you put your hardware back down. So again, we talked about earlier as far as the surveyor, his primary goal is looking at the structure of the boat. In this case in particular, this manufacturer, the stringers don't have any plywood or balsa wood or foam inside to retain the moisture or rot. The majority of manufacturers do, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for dull thuds and high moisture meter readings to determine how bad it may be. In older boats, you do expect some moisture in the stringers because of absorption just over time.
Barry, what does one do in terms of finding a surveyor? I mean, there's all kinds of surveyors out there, and you know, what are the kinds of things you should look for to find a good surveyor to do your boat survey? Yeah, there's quite a few surveyors. Some of the questions you need to ask when you're shopping for a surveyor is, where does he get his experience from? Anybody can be a surveyor in Ontario, and then we can hang the shingle up. We need to know where they got their experience as far as hands-on. If they've repaired boats, if they can operate boats, you know, first-hand experience. You know, some people that end up retiring early and want to be a surveyor, they can do that and hang the shingle. We have to make sure they're qualified. Do they belong to certain organizations such as SAMS or NAMS? Ourselves, we're certified with ABYC, which is American Boat Yacht Council, which is the standards that we inspect our boats by. The other thing is you want to make sure, and if they don't have liability or errors and emissions insurance, then right off the bat you need to find somebody else. You also have to make sure that all of their surveys are accepted by all the banks and insurance companies. And when you go to buy a boat, the brokers will give you a list of reputable surveyors. The brokers won't pinpoint anyone in particular, but they'll give you a choice of accepted professional people. The same as the banks or insurance companies, they give you a list of people that they accept as well. And you also want to find out, you know, can you be there during the survey? You know, one of those things, you're paying for the good money for the survey, you actually want to see what's going on for the survey and actually understand the results. And if the surveyor says you can't be there, you know, it's your money. Yes. The surveyor reports to you. They give you the report. It doesn't go to anybody else. So that's, you know, the basics in a nutshell. Barry, I'd like to thank you for taking the time today to show us around. It's appreciated. I guess the same thing applies whether it's a new boat or a used boat. It's always a great idea to get a professional survey done so you don't run into problems down the road.
Yeah, absolutely, and thanks for this opportunity. It's new boats or old boats, it still require a survey, considering what kind of problems you can get with them. So hopefully people do their due diligence, get the qualified person, and come out good.
Thanks again.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. I'm here with Shane Jennis at JT's Top Shop in Midland. Shane, is it true that I've heard rumors that JT's uses more sunbrella than any other marine business in Ontario?
Yeah, especially in Ontario, we consume a large volume of marine sunbrella. There are many types of sunbrella available, but as far as marine goes, we definitely go through the most.
Shane, this is almost like a warehouse operation here. So you do both the retail and the wholesale side of the business. Is that correct?
That's right. We have two sides of the business. We have a 15,000 square foot warehouse where we warehouse all our products that we sell retail, and as well as wholesale to other marine canvas shops. And we also fabricate boat tops and upholstery right here in our shop.
Fantastic. Now, what are you finding in terms of, you know, we always like to ask when we go to boat shows and stuff, what are you finding in terms of the business? Is it getting busier? than it was in the last few years coming out the other side of the recession?
In the last couple of years, we've had good years, but this year especially, we're already booking well in advance, so that's a good indication that it's going to be a good year for us.
Right. And at peak times of the season, would you just be booked solid for work right through? Like, you've got waiting list, people have to have a long lead time to get in?
Yeah, starting in early spring, we start to book up about 2 to 3 months in advance. So that's allowed us to expand our business, and we're always looking for ways to keep it steady, throughout the whole year. So we do offer deals in the winter just to get in the business and keep everyone going all year round.
Shane, what's this high-tech looking contraption in front of us here?
This is our latest investment. It's a CNC cutting device. So all of our stock patterns, dinghy covers, they can all be cut out on this machine. So whatever the computer tells it to cut, it runs up and down the table and cuts everything out for us.
Now this table's massive. It's probably, what, 25 feet? Or?
Yeah, 24 feet by 6 feet wide. So we can cut some pretty big pieces on here, and we can do production runs. We do mass cuttings for other companies as well. Yeah. And we also have a digitizing service, so we can take 3D points and then flatten it out and then have the cutter cut it out, so all our patterning can be digital.
Peter, tell us what's going on here with
Okay, well, customer brought in the interior for his boat to be redone, and we've redesigned the whole interior. This back seat of this double seat used to have a knee roll in here with a smaller amount of foam in the back, so we reshaped it all, reskinned it, and it's set to go. And currently I'm working on the cushion to go in here.
You supply Umbrella and all the pieces necessary to do this kind of work really all over Canada, is that correct?
Yeah, there's we've got a website where do-it-yourself people or other canvas shops can come and get our unique products. Just from our years of experience, we've developed our own products where we found a need. We couldn't find the product, so we've had it manufactured ourselves, and we offer that to the general public.
So you have some products that are branded just for your particular company
That's
that
right.
you offer.
Yep, we have
Fantastic.
specific colors of products to match all the different umbrellas. We have unique products, and they're all on our website.
Good. Well, we look forward to doing business with you. Thanks very much, Shane.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank you.
it. Thank you.